Hi Aries, here's a general look at your solar chart for July 2015. There could be some more running around, but maybe within a locality, maybe meeting and greeting. And also, every year at this time the sun comes into the root of your chart, so maybe the center of your attention will be on property or a space inside, outside. It could be to do with the neighborhood, extended family, tribe, that kind of thing. Some of you could be involved in buying and selling or DIYing or maintaining, repairing. Some of you could be harking back to the past as well. And just a little bit of nostalgia creeping in there, because in some respects your gaze will tend to be more sort of pondering, and you may be feeling things more deeply, and this is a very good time to be listening to your instincts, listening to the ancestors, because the ancestors, if you call them that, or the guides, or maybe the nature spirits, or the omens or the angels, they are likely, you're likely to be more aware of them during this time here. But until the 9th, Mercury is zipping around, meeting, greeting. There could be increased interchanges with others. Could be more paperwork for some of you. Could be just picking up on the local gossip, you know, that kind of thing, but also further afield, because this is the area of education as well. And then from the 9th to the 24th, the metal focus goes into the same area as the Sun and Mars, which is revolving around a space, an inside space, an outside space. It might be your own, you might be somewhere else. But you could be engaged there, you could be active there, you could be considering the past, so you could be considering a legacy or a tradition of some kind, and feelings tend to be nearer the surface. There's a couple of aspects that you need to know about. Well, I advise you to know about, and that is for all of the signs, but the cardinal signs are usually feeling the Uranian transit and the Plutonic transit a little bit more. But having said that, it's a very, very general statement, because we've all of us maybe got, well, I say we've all of us maybe, many of us have a cardinal point, or the sun or the moon or another planet on an important point to do with a cardinal sign, or you know, midpoints or whatever it is. But in general, this one here, Pluto is going over the sun between the 5th and the 7th, particularly between the 5th and the 7th. That's really kind of narrow, the narrow corridor in the center of the aspect, although it'll get more diluted and decrease as it goes out from those degrees, right? And then also Uranus is going over the sun on the 11th to the 14th, again in the narrowest corridor of the aspect. So a bit more pressure on you to let go of something, so progress can be made, feeling a bit tense, maybe a bit on the edge of your seat. And you could also be feeling yeah, maybe not tolerating as much, maybe a bit nervy. And also this is a time when random events could occur as well, so just watch your step. But on the other hand, breakthrough can be made if you meet a challenge and overcome it. If you do, you'll feel unburdened, and you should feel quite satisfied with yourself as well, and you very much do deserve that. And that is for cardinal signs. But at the same time, well, at some of that time, we also have the tail end of this stunningly good aspect between Jupiter and Uranus, which was taking place throughout June, a little bit of May as well. So in the first week, there is still this support coming from these two, meaning that if you break the routine, if you push the envelope of daily life, if you plunge into something, maybe taking a bit of a risk, you know, but if it's new and it's unfamiliar to you, or maybe even unconventional in some ways, then it could be very constructive. It could be fortunate for you. Or it might work in another sort of a way, and I mentioned this last month as well. There could be a light bulb moment and some kind of, I don't know, bolt from the blue, which is a game changer. Again, it's a very positive aspect. But of course, all aspects are running alongside the natal chart, the progressed chart, and other aspects. So we have to sort of balance them all off against each other. But if you get into the slipstream of the Uranus-Jupiter aspect, you really do have to step out into, without being maybe, without losing your common sense, without losing your head, step out into something really new and fresh, or just try out something, even if it's different kind of food or something. It could be, you know, something like that. And then from the 10th onwards, with this aspect of Saturn, first on Venus and then on Jupiter, here we have to sort of pull in the belt a bit, watch our P's and Q's in a relationship, not feel so supported perhaps in a relationship, having to be just more self-reliant and rolling with the changes there. Is not the most brilliant time for major financial moves. You're not likely to get, you know, a break there at the moment until Saturn moves off Venus, which will be on into next month. And then Saturn goes over Jupiter, which means that certain decisions or certain courses of actions undertaken maybe around about 7 years ago, actually, are now coming up to be tested. So maybe it's the consequence of certain decisions or actions taken and those years ago. And if you're feeling something with its roots in that far in the past isn't allowing you the scope to develop and grow, then it may be time for you to let it go. There could be a bit of a squeeze on opportunities for expansion in any area of life, including financial or with other resources like material possessions. But on the other hand, again, if you're utilizing this sort of more positive energy, which is around through Uranus and Jupiter, but it's also around through other things as well, because all of the planetary bodies are moving all the time, and that's not to mention the asteroids and your natal chart. As I say, this is a very general look, but on the other hand, if you take things step by step, you should be successful. So if you're going through change, if you're wanting to expand and grow into new territory, it might be feeling a bit like, oh gosh, you know, but you got to be sort of dogmatic. You've got to be sort of plodding with it, because you're pushing through to something which is going to allow you to spread your wings more, and it's going to be ultimately rewarding, I would say. Mercury is moving a lot this month, and from the 24th he nips into an area which could have your creative juices flowing and maybe thinking in brighter sort of colors about things, whether that is in your personal life or whether this is some kind of new project or something artistic or something romantic or something to do with children or animals. It could be any of those things. Now then, apart from July the 19th to August the 1st, when she is supporting practical or health related activities, and maybe you finding a mate who's got very, very useful skills to put at your disposal, Venus is actually in a marathon transit of Leo, which is very good news for you children of the Ram. So this long-term Venus position can mean a highly sociable period, a boost to your love life, and some of you could be tying the knot with that special person. Venus is going to be transiting through there, Leo, apart from between those two dates, 9th of July to the 1st of August, until October. So over that time, you're likely to feel more spontaneous and maybe sometimes impulsive about expressing yourself in freer, more creative ways, or artistic ways, or just fun-orientated ways, entertainment-orientated. Some of you could be getting into the leisure industry, I guess, or you know, the sort of the part of you which is your inner child should be freer to express itself now, and or in general you doing something which could be a job, it could be a sport, it could be a pastime of some description, which just makes you feel empowered. You give it a go and you find, my God, I'm really good at golf, and I never knew, you know, or base jumping, but that's more of an Aryan thing, and I do advise, you know, well, it doesn't matter what I advise, but, you know, something crazy like that. But it could be also something artistic. And so most importantly, something which puts you in touch with your own playful inner child that isn't self-conscious and sort of down-putting and doubting, but really kind of feels like, whoa, you know, I'm really enjoying this thing, whatever this thing is about. So it could be to do with performance, could be to do with theatre. It might not be like that at all. It might be to do with money, investment, speculation, and whatever it is. Venus is likely to bring ease, more ease and flow and companionship. So it could be romantic as well, into that area there where you can have some fun. And then Mars is also in the same area as the Sun and the same area as Mercury was between the 9th and the 24th, which is right down at the root of your chart. Busier than usual in and around HQ or in the neighborhood, or with like maybe family or extended family, or it might not be your normal stamping ground, it might be somewhere else. But definitely there's likely more physical demand on you, you know, you've just got to put your back into it maybe. And Mars in that area could also mean more coming and going within a locality. It might not be like that. It might be that you are property hunting, or, you know, making home improvements, or you might be doing that kind of stuff, sort of garden or whatever. There could be moments of tension though, because this is quite a sensitive, emotional area, again, to do with the past. This is all connected to the past, this area here, so skeletons could start rattling in the closet, and you have to ride the waves of the emotional kind of reactions and patterns that are kind of regurgitating up, maybe to do with your own personal past, maybe not. Maybe it's to do with your bloodline, maybe it's not even to do with that, maybe it's to do with your soul connections. I mean, this is quite a deep house. It's a deep water house. It's like a real deep rock pool that goes into other dimensions even, and other planes or other parts of the timeline, and it is connected to the past. But if time is elliptical, which a little bird once told me, it's kind of egg-shaped, then it might be the past and the future. Also, in another sort of sense, this area is to do with parents and parenting as well. Now then, so that area there is an area which has got a lot of your, it's pulling your energy because it's got your ruling planet in it. And then the Sun moves on the 23rd, and then there's a brighter vibration around. The Sun goes into the same area as Venus is going to be in for this very, very long time, again bringing out that inner child, bringing out that sort of part of you which wants to be innovative and creative in some way, or competitive, a real competitive vibe as well. For some of you, that might be the way that you respond to this. Jupiter, the planet of potential abundance and expansion, is in a long transit, although it's nearly coming to an end, of course, July, because Jupiter moves out of there in August. But this is chiming in really well with the position of the Sun from the 23rd and the position of Venus most of the time. Apart from the 19th of July to the 1st of August. And this is a very playful, sometimes romantic, sometimes competitive, sometimes just sort of fun, creative, orientated area. And it does highlight romantic partners, children, animals, and entertainments, whatever you call entertainments in general. And you Aries born the 10th to the 19th of April, or the 20 to 29 degrees rising, are going to feel the energy of that one this month. And then Saturn has moved back to Scorpio temporarily, and this is gear changing you emotionally. So even though this month has got some nice energies, but also some breaking and blocking energies, with Saturn going over Venus and Jupiter for all of the signs. Saturn can have you asking deeper questions about things. Saturn can have you maybe almost like stopping in your tracks and going, okay, now what is the value? Is this worthwhile? Or, what is the value of this to me? Or has the value of XYZ to me changed in the interim? Or, asking yourself those deep, whether it's about money, whether it's about a relationship, a job, a habit, whatever it is. But sometimes ditching or modifying a prior arrangement or contract in favor of something which is financially, emotionally, or physically, it's just common sense to do it. It's more comfortable now. Well, maybe it wasn't before, but it is now. That can happen, and that'll be gradual, although I must say it's all kind of being pulled together now, because with this final pass of Saturn in the very, very end of Scorpio, this is actually tying things up now because it's coming out of there in September. You Arians born on the 17th to the 20th of April, all with from 27 degrees rising, going to feel that energy the most. And just a mention of Uranus, which I spoke about before, Arians born 6th to the 10th of April, or with 19 21 degrees rising, going to feel that the most. And for Pluto, you children of the Ram born 8th to the 10th of April, or with 13 to 15 degrees rising, going to feel that one the most. And that's it for July. If you know your rising sign, your moon sign, listen to those. And also you can read all this stuff, the basics of it, the bones of it. It's written up on my website every month, and I'll see you the next time.